Imagine you are spectating a football game. You witness a member of the defensive team tackle the opposing offensive player. It seems to look like a very routine football play. However, the member of the offensive team appears to stand up, start stumbling, before eventually falling face first on the field as training staff runs to his aid. What happened in that situation to cause the offensive player to react in such a way from such a routine play? The answer is most likely that the player suffered a brain injury known as a concussion, which is when the brain produces swelling due to coming into contact with the skull, which is used to protect the brain. Concussions are becoming increasingly more noticeable amongst athletes, and researchers and medical professionals are doing everything in their power to limit or eliminate the risk of concussions in sports due to the possibility of developing a long-term brain injury, known as chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, a progressive brain disorder similar to dementia which slowly kills brain cells, found most commonly in athletes, military veterans, and those with past brain trauma. People with CTE tend to experience symptoms such as confusion, memory loss, depression, aggression, and mood swings, which can continue to progress even decades after the initial trauma or brain injury occurred. I will explain to you today why it is important to know about CTE, specifically in regards to football players, ways that the game has changed in order to eliminate the risk of CTE, and what the future holds for the game of football due to the discovery of this long-term brain disease due to concussions and trauma. So why is it so important? What do we need to know about CTE, and what impact has it made on former players? Well, due to the fact that we are still learning so much about CTE, there are former players out there who are experiencing symptoms of it and ultimately is affecting their lives in a negative way. Recently, there have been cases of former NFL players committing suicide, specifically two of San Diego Charger linebacker Junior Seau and Pittsburgh Steelers lineman Mike Webster, who gave their brains up to research, which both showed proven signs of CTE. If CTE caused these two examples amongst many more to commit suicide, then it is important to see how many former players have developed CTE, and a study was needed to be done. 87 to 91 former NFL players whose brains were studied showed signs of CTE, which raised red flags for current players, which ultimately resulted in changes being made in the game to prevent concussions and ultimately CTE. So what ways of prevention happen within the game? Well, there's new high-tech equipment such as more heavily reinforced shoulder pads and even new styles of helmets which are better padded and concussion tested. They have also made it illegal to lead with the crown of your helmet when going to make a tackle. Defenders are only able to make plays on the ball in the air when the receiver is not able to defend himself. A defender cannot leave his feet when he tackles. One of the most common plays in a game of football where a concussion occurs is on the kickoff. When the kicking team kicks off to the receiving team, which they have now moved the ball 5 yards closer to the end zone in order to increase the amount of touchbacks and limit the amount of potential concussions on the kickoff play. So what does the future hold for football due to what happened with CTE? Coaches and trainers must now be trained heavily on concussion prevention, and since the game has been altered for defensive players must tweak their technique in order to stay within the rules of the game and not only keep themselves safe, but others safe around them. Hopefully with research and development of new equipment, we'll make sure the game seems less barbaric in nature and safer for individuals who are participating. Talk about parents who don't want to let their kids play football anymore. Let's think about it. 10 years ago, many more kids were playing football than they are today. Even organizations around northern Kentucky have closed their doors to Pee Wee football. Prevention makes parents feel more safer about their kids playing it and more inclined to let them do so. Although we are still continuing to learn more things about CTE, with all that we do know about the disease, we can use it to help prevent cases of occurring in athletes in the future. By understanding the severity of it and why it is important, the ways that we have gone about preventing it, and seeing how it has altered the future of the sport of football, we can gain a better understanding on how to eliminate it and make football a safer sport for its participants.